Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to take a look at Standard 6.5.10. Everyone will learn how to add decimals. We will also be learning how to estimate the sum to determine if the answer is reasonable. So let's take a look at this next page. We have a couple problems here. 6 and 2 tenths, 106 and 124 thousandths, 19 and 56 hundredths. We're going to try to determine how to, that's right, add these decimals together. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to solve this problem. Let's move on to the next page. You can solve it in 5 simple steps. The first step we need to think about is estimating to ensure the sum is reasonable. It's always important to estimate so you have a good idea of what your sum should be close to. The second step, we're going to line up the decimals. Step number 3, add as if they were whole numbers. And step number 4, bring the decimal straight down in your answer or sum. And finally, step number 5, compare with your estimate. You're going to compare that sum to make sure it's close to that estimate that you had at the beginning. Let's see if we can put these steps into action here. Moving on to the next page. Nikki went to the grocery store and bought 1 gallon of milk for $3.27, a loaf of bread for $1.97, and a dozen eggs for $1.87. Can you help Nikki find the sum of these items? So, first we're going to pull these numbers over to the side and decide what to do with them. Using my 5 easy steps, we will push this over here and make this just a little bit larger. Now, step 1, estimate to ensure the sum is reasonable. $1.87 is about $2, so I'm going to write an estimate of $2 out to the side. Now, for my next one, $1.97. That is also about $2. So again, I'm writing an estimate. And my final one, $3.27, is approximately $3. Again, I will write my estimate. When I add those together, I get 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 2 more is $7. So my answer should be pretty close to $7. Now, let's use step number 2. It says to line up the decimals. So I'm just going to bring them over here and make sure my decimals are lined up. This helps me to make sure that each place value is also lined up. Therefore, I'm adding hundredths to hundredths, tenths to tenths, and ones with ones. 7 times 3, or 3 plus 7, or excuse me, 7 plus 7 plus 7 is equal to 21. So I'll carry my 2. The 8 and 2 is 10, plus 9 is 19, and 2 more is 21. Carry my 2. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 more is 4, plus 3 more is 7. My answer, $7.11. Now, the final step says to bring the decimal straight down. I accidentally did that just because it comes natural after a while. But you want to bring that decimal. Make sure that you're bringing that decimal straight down. Step number 5, compare with your estimate. So we're going to look at our estimate. We had the estimate to be about $7. And if I look at this estimate of $7 and try to determine if that's close to my $7.11, I can easily see that it is relatively close, and likely $7.11 is a reasonable answer. Now, moving on to the next page. We're going to look at that first problem we had once again and practice with this. Can you remember the first step that we need to use when adding decimals? If you can't, I have the steps written down here, and we can see the first step is to estimate to ensure the sum is reasonable. So the first number we have about 6. The next number we have about 106. And the final number is somewhere around 20. My total sum should be approximately or about 132. 6 plus 106 is 112, plus 20 more would be 132. Now, step number 2 says to line up the decimals. So I'm just going to take each individual number, bring it to the center, and make sure we have the decimals lined up. Now, in some instances, people will actually add in the zeros to fill the place values. This is called annexing a zero. You're welcome to do that if it makes you feel more comfortable adding decimals. But it is not necessary. Just line up the decimals, and next you will add as if they're whole numbers. So, 4, 6 plus 2 is 8, 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 5 is 8, 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 9 is 21, carry my 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3, and 1. Now, next step, bring the decimal straight down. I bring the decimal straight down, finally comparing with your estimate. Is this number 131 and 884 thousandths pretty close to 132? Absolutely. So I know that my answer is likely correct, and I have a reasonable answer. Finally, let's move on and let you do a little practice of your own. Go ahead and use these problems to help yourself practice and check your work with the calculator. First problem up, 54 and 2/100. Don't forget that first step. Line those decimals up. See if you can get these others on your own. Our second practice problem. Our third practice problem. And after you've solved all of those, we have a special one behind the polka dotted balloon. Try to convert the word form to standard form and then find the sum of these decimals. Good luck, and I hope this helped you out.